What's going on, folks? So today I'm going to be checking out the new single here from the band Feanor, and the name of the song is Sirens of Death. They have a new album coming out September 19th, so it's like a month away. Until then, we got this new song to check out, so let's just get right to it. Rangers, go. Wow. So first thing I'm going to say is that starting from the beginning of the bridge all the way to the end of the song, phenomenal. Phenomenal. I mean, it just everything that maybe was lacking earlier in the song just really, really nailed it after that point on. So yeah, I mean, like starting from the beginning of the bridge through the end of this song, phenomenal. Loved all of that. So I'll get more to that. But first, you know, so musically, I really enjoyed this song. I think musically, this song was excellent. I enjoyed that main kind of guitar riff and stuff like that, and just the guitar stuff everywhere else was just really great. And I'll get to again some of that later. The drum work was really solid, some really great fills and things like that. I enjoyed the drums a lot, and then when the violin came in certain spots, that was just awesome. So yeah, musically, I really really enjoyed this song a lot, like all the way through. And the vocals, he's got a really cool voice. Those some of those high notes that he's hitting, man, that was just tight. And then there at the end, like particularly one of those like high like power metal screams, like he held that note for so incredibly long, it was just insane. I was like, wait, he's still holding that note? So yeah, super impressive there. He's got some really really gnarly like high power metal type screams. And just his voice in general, he's almost like in some spots got a little bit of like a almost operatic sort of vibe, and you know he's got some grit to his voice, and then again those screams are tight. So yeah, I think he's got a really kind of cool voice. So all of that I thought was really really neat. Now, where I feel like the song falters quite a bit, to be honest, is in like the vocal melodies. Like when the song first started, the music was cool. Like I said, I really liked that main guitar riff and stuff. But then when the verses started, it's like the vocal melody in the verses, it just wasn't jiving with me. Like it felt like the melody of the vocals or the lyrical melody or whatnot just didn't quite line up with the music. You know, just something felt a bit off. You know, in some spots in there it felt a little bit more aligned, but in several spots it just almost felt like the two just were not lined up well, and so it just left it sounding a little bit awkward, and at times too in the verses it almost just sounded like the lyrical melody was kind of all over the place. Like it just made it to where I couldn't really determine a real rhyme or reason to the lyrical melody combined with the music. Like whether it just felt like the lyrical melody was just kind of all over the place, that there wasn't like a cohesion there, or it just sounding like it was just a bit off from like the music. So the verses to me just were a bit of a mess, to be honest. I really couldn't latch on to much of anything in there. So it just sounded a bit messy once the lyrical melody came in. So yeah, I just the verses, I really really think that those would need to be tweaked quite a bit to more align the lyrical melody like with the music, and also just make it sound like there's like a pattern there, where it's again it just kind of sounds like a lot of it's just all over the place, like there's just a bunch of stuff happening, and I couldn't really wrap my head around like what's happening here. So it just came off a bit messy. And then the chorus, well, at first, you know, it's interesting because the chorus then it gets almost like a little bit of a piratey metal or like Viking metal kind of vibe, which I'm all for that. But something about, again, the lyrical melody, it just threw me off, where you kind of have like the melody like kind of up here a little bit, like it's got this certain kind of vibe where it's like rising up a bit, whatever. But then there's like, in particular, one line where it just really feels like kind of like dips down. It is so far to where it just feels out of place almost. It feels like it kind of sucks the energy out of the chorus, the melody of the chorus, you know. So there's like a couple decisions in there with the chorus where it feels like it's just out of line with the momentum or like how it should kind of be approached. And so the way it kind of just goes like from up here and like dips down and it kind of like so far to where it just sucks the life out of kind of the momentum of the chorus and then kind of back up. And again, it just really kind of threw me off. So I just wasn't too big on that either. Just something that just felt awkward almost. Again, just that movement in there. It just something, it just didn't quite align. And yeah, I mean, again, it's like I was kind of vibing with the chorus, but then once some of those decisions to kind of like pull it back almost and drop it down, it just didn't really add anything, in my opinion, to the chorus other than just kind of pulling the life out of it. So yeah, I just thought that was kind of a strange sort of decision there as well. So I was really kind of thrown off in this song with just the melodies, the lyrical melodies, while I was really enjoying the music and stuff like that. But then we get to the beginning of the bridge, and as soon as the bridge starts, like the lyrical melody there at the beginning of the bridge, I was like, okay, this sounds like aligned with the music, and I'm jiving with it. Like this works. This is working. And then you kind of get into like the violin comes in and it's all just really cool, and it evokes that sense of like, oh, the sirens now, like, we're being brainwashed or whatever by the sirens, and then the violin just did a really great job of kind of evoking that feeling, and it was just really tight. And then you get the guitar solos, which were just awesome, absolutely awesome. I loved the guitar solos here. I thought they were just brilliantly done. And I mean, they were shredding, but it was matching with the momentum of the song, and it just excellent guitar solos. And then you get to like the final choruses, and I was like, okay, here we go. The chorus again, but they did something different in those final choruses. They didn't do that like kind of dip down thing. They kept it all much more like up here, and then like the backing vocals in there, which really gave an even more kind of like piratey Viking metal sort of vibe to it. But yeah, the melody, it all stayed much more aligned to where it felt like it should be, in line with the music and the moment and stuff like that. And I was like, whoa, like they changed it up here for this final chorus, for both of the final choruses there. And I was like, I'm digging this. Like, this is how I felt like the rest of the choruses should have been earlier in the song, because like this was working, what they were doing there. So I was like, sweet, this is tight. This is where it should have been. And then you have the whole outro where you get the awesome like power metal screams from the vocalist. You get just some great instrumentals. The drums are doing some cool stuff. The violin is back in there, and it was just an awesome like outro and stuff like that. And I was like, man, so that's why I said everything starting at the beginning of the bridge through the rest of the song, it just worked brilliantly. And I was like, all of this is what was missing earlier in the song. So it just felt like, I don't know, it's like they had it. Like they were there. Like they could definitely have just fine-tuned the rest, because starting at the bridge all the way through the end, it just was all there. And so I was like, man, this is where it's at. This is where this song should have been from the beginning all the way up to the bridge. But all of that, like the melodies and stuff, just felt like it was lacking, and there were some stylistic choices I felt like were detrimental to the song. But everything at the bridge on, great. Even the choruses, because they tweaked them there, and it worked. It worked very, very well. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on this. Like, I was all in on this song starting at the bridge all the way through to the end. It hit where it should, and the musicality was excellent. The vocals were excellent. All that stuff. The melodies were excellent. So yeah, it's just the verses and the first two choruses of the song. I feel like the lyrical melodies were tweaked some. this song could really just be a banger from start to finish. But as it is, it just doesn't quite land until like the midpoint of the song. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Clearly, very talented folks here. So I'm looking forward to the new album to see what they're bringing from there. But this song, to me, it's really like a 50-50, like a 50%, like, really, really, felt like needs some work, but the other 50% was excellent. So, anywho, let me know, folks, in the comments down below. What do you think of this song here? Are you looking forward to the new album? Let's talk about it. And I'll catch you next time. Ranger. Out.